Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 1 of December 2024. This year's Black Friday weekend sales saw record business due to heavy discounts and marketing efforts. Retailers and brands achieved 70 to 80% of their sales compared to Republic and Independence Day sales. Top brands offered substantial discounts. Despite a cyclone impacting sales in some regions, there was significant year-on-year growth in stores. SEBI has proposed regulation of internet firms to check the spread of misinformation about financial products on social media platforms. Companies fearing over-regulations are seeing red. In the draft proposal, SEBI also said that social media and other internet platforms should, to the satisfaction of the market regulator, have the policy to share securities market-related information and data with it whenever it is sought. Section 194N of the Income Tax Act 1961 casts a liability on every bank, cooperative bank or post office to deduct tax at source from any sum paid in cash from one or more accounts maintained by the recipient if cash is withdrawn above the threshold limit from any bank account. The tax is required to be deducted at the rate of 2% if the cash withdrawal exceeds Rs 1 crore during the previous year. To exempt from the provisions of Section 194N, the Central Board of Direct Taxes or CBDT has issued a notification specifying that the provisions of Section 194N shall not apply to foreign representations duly approved by the Ministry of External Affairs of the Government of India, including diplomatic missions, agencies of the United Nations, international organizations, consulates, and Office of Honorary Consuls which are exempt from paying taxes in India. The notification shall be deemed to have come into force with effect from 1st day of December 2024. SEBI has allowed NSE and BSE to act as an alternative trading venue at the time of outage on either exchange. Both exchanges will have to prepare a joint standard operating procedure that would include a plan to be invoked at the time of outage on one exchange and submit it to SEBI within 60 days from the date of the circular. Further, standard operating procedures must cover changes, if any, in the systems of stockbrokers and clearing corporations to implement the measures. The due date for furnishing the return of income under Section 139(1) of the Income Tax Act 1961 in the case of an assessee who is required to furnish a report referred to in Section 92E is the 30th day of November of the assessment year, that is 30th November 2024 for the assessment year 2024-25. As per Circular Number 18/2024 issued on November 30th, 2024, the deadline for filing ITRs under Section 139(1) has been extended from November 30th, 2024 to December 15th, 2024. The extension applies to taxpayers required to furnish a report under Section 92E of the Income Tax Act 1961, which primarily deals with transfer pricing. This decision comes in response to demands from taxpayers and professionals for additional time to comply with the reporting requirements. Indian Airlines face difficulty increasing fares to cover rising costs and make profits, despite a significant post-COVID recovery in passenger traffic. Competitive market dynamics and high fuel prices are primary challenges. Consolidation in the industry, including recent mergers and airline closures, hasn't benefited airlines. Indigo and Air India carry most domestic passengers, maintaining competitive fares to attract customers. SEBI has notified the SEBI Merchant Bankers Amendment Regulations 2024. As per the amended norms, a merchant banker, when called upon pursuant to an agreement for underwriting to subscribe to the securities of a body corporate, must subscribe to the said securities before finalizing the basis of allotment. Further, the merchant banker must inform the board of any changes in the information submitted while seeking registration within 7 working days of such change. The Finance Ministry proposes allowing insurers to expand beyond insurance. The draft policy suggests new services like guarantee and indemnity services and managing repossessed properties. The proposal includes reforms such as composite registration, reduced capital requirements, and increased foreign direct investments. Comments are open until December 10, 2024. Provisions for distributing financial products were excluded. A consolidation wave is likely to build steadily among film production houses in the coming months as their costs in running operations mount and interest of large and mid-sized corporations in the entertainment business increases. In the coming months, large and medium-sized companies may acquire either a big or a bunch of mid and small-sized film production houses as their vision is not restricted to merely film business. State-run Telecommunications Consultants India or TCIL is planning to divest 5 to 10% of its remaining stake in Bharti Hexacom through an offer for sale. The divestment process, targeting both institutional and public shareholders, is expected to conclude in financial year 25. At Bharti Hexacom's current market capitalization, TCIL's 15% stake is valued at Rs 10,425 crores. Property developers and institutional investors are strategically entering and expanding their investments in the managed office space sector, driven by the increasing demand among corporations prioritizing agility and the necessity for scalable, customized office solutions. The trend has prompted real estate developers and institutional funds, including Capital Land, Prestige, Bagmane, RMZ, Embassy Group, and Brigade Group, to enhance their offerings in the managed office segment. Such a move aligns with the evolving workplace dynamics and the shift toward more adaptable workplace solutions. After a wave of private equity-backed and new age public issues in recent years, 2025 is set to witness listed firms taking subsidiaries public, with over a dozen including HDFC Bank, Hero MotoCorp, Reliance Industries, Manappuram Finance, Muthoot Finance, Brigade Enterprises, Canara Bank, and Greaves Cotton among others planning listings, with more to follow. Subsidiary public issues enable independent capital raising, benchmark readiness, and cash generation for parents via offer for sale, aiding deleveraging, capital expenditure or dividend payouts. Investor gain access to focused, growth-driven, pure-play businesses. Jaiprakash Associates or JAL has presented a Rs 16,000 crore settlement offer to avoid bankruptcy, proposing an initial Rs 4,000 crore payment after 9 months and the remaining Rs 12,000 crore over 3 years. Banks are evaluating this along with NARCL's Rs 12,000 crore offer as JAL's insolvency case continues with the NCLAT. Google and Meta are heavily investing in submarine fiber optic cables in India, setting up a competition with domestic companies such as Reliance Jio, Bharti Airtel, and Tata Communications. With India's data demand surge, the market for high-speed global connectivity is growing fast, urging enterprises to shift data centers locally for increased sovereignty and security. The Indian Premier League has cemented its status as premier global sports league, with its cumulative brand value rising 13% to $12 billion as per the 17th Brand Finance IPL 2024 valuation report. The league, valued at $2 billion in 2009, crossed the $10 billion mark for the first time in 2023, reaching $10.7 billion. KKR is close to acquiring a 60.36% stake in Healthcare Global Enterprises Limited or HCG, trumping Bain Capital's bid. The acquisition from CVC Capital is worth Rs 4,663 crore. The deal includes a potential open offer for an additional 26% of HCG, possibly leading to the delisting of the hospital chain. After considering representations from liquidators and agencies citing technical difficulties, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India has extended the deadline for filing liquidation and voluntary liquidation forms to 31st December 2024, previously set at 30th November 2024. Further, it has been clarified that for ongoing liquidation and voluntary liquidation cases, the responsibility for filing all forms shall lie with the insolvency professionals currently handling the process. India's power regulator is examining a capacity transfer in a major solar project. Azure Power was initially awarded 2,333 megawatts, but this was shifted to Adani Green. The regulator is investigating if this transfer complies with the original agreement. The project's commissioning date is September 2026. A key clause appears to prohibit such transfers before commissioning. The Reserve Bank of India is tightening regulations for private equity and venture capital funds invested in non-banking finance companies. The RBI is pushing for observers appointed by these funds to become directors, holding them accountable for governance and preventing potential liabilities from frauds or misconduct. Major Indian industrial houses are collaborating with the government to join the global electronics supply chain. These include TII Murugappa, Pidilite, GMR, RP Sanjeev Goenka Group and Bajaj Hindustan. Inspired by Tata's success with Apple, these companies aim to produce components and materials for electronics manufacturing. This initiative seeks to boost India's electronics production to $500 billion by 2030, with Apple serving as a key partner for many new entrants. The Bengaluru-based Unacademy, once valued at a peak of $3.4 billion in 2021, will likely be merged with Allen, and founders are expected to exit. The EdTech company has around $160 million of cash in bank, but revenues have been flat after the highs of COVID-19, even as it's pivoted to an offline model. The potential sale could value the company at around $800 million, which is less than a quarter of its peak valuation. SEBI has notified the SEBI Depositories and Participants Third Amendment Regulations 2024. A new regulation, 60A, with respect to nomination has been inserted. It states that every participant must provide an option to the beneficial owner to nominate a person to whom the securities held by him must vest in the event of his death. Further, the depository and participant must not be liable for any action taken based on nomination made by the beneficial owner. RBI has directed banks to take necessary steps urgently to bring down the number of inoperative or frozen accounts and make the process of activation of such accounts smoother and hassle-free. This includes enabling seamless updation of KYC through mobile or internet banking, non-home branches, video customer identification process, etc. Further, RBI has directed banks to organize special campaigns for facilitating the activation of inoperative or frozen accounts. Titan Company is raising the base price of its watches to Rs 3,000, driven by premiumization trends and rising income levels in India. Despite a profit dip in the September quarter due to customs duty cuts on jewelry, the company's watch and wearables division saw a 19% revenue increase. Consumer categories across India have been exhibiting divergent growth trends with rising sales of premium goods across watches, smartphones, apparel, and cars compared to last year, even as demand in mid-segment categories remains muted as high inflation leads consumers to defer discretionary spending. Vodafone sold its final 3% stake in Indus Towers for Rs 2,800 crore. Multiple global investors purchased the shares. Vodafone will use some proceeds to repay debt. The remaining amount will be invested in Vodafone Idea. This investment will help Vodafone Idea pay its dues to Indus Towers. Vodafone Idea's financial health is crucial for Indus Towers. In a significant update, the Ministry of Finance issued notification number 1/2024 Central Excise on December 3, 2024, amending key provisions of the Central Excise Rules 2017. The changes, effective immediately, simplify procedural requirements for businesses. Two rules have been amended. Rule 18 Amendment. The first proviso preceding the explanation in Rule 18 has been omitted. The rule primarily deals with refunds of duties paid on exported goods. Rule 19 Amendment. The proviso under Rule 19, which governs a removal of excisable goods without payment of duty for specific purposes, has also been omitted. These amendments aim to streamline compliance and reduce procedural hurdles for exporters and manufacturers. SEBI has issued an updated Master Circular for depositories. This Master Circular covers the relevant applicable circulars or communications pertaining to depositories issued by SEBI up to September 30th, 2024. It enables the users to have access to all applicable circulars or directions at one place. The Master Circular consists of 4 sections. Number 1, beneficial owner accounts. Number 2, depository participants related. Number 3, issuer related. And number 4, depositories related. SEBI has released a consultation paper on online monitoring of system audit of stockbrokers. The objective is to seek public comments on the proposal to create an online monitoring and supervision mechanism by stock exchanges to monitor the system audit process of stockbrokers on a concurrent basis. The proposed framework aims to enhance the quality of audit and to make the auditor more responsible for system audit. Comments may be submitted by December 26, 2024. The Reserve Bank of India may ease monetary conditions by reducing banks' cash reserve ratios after economic growth slowed to a 7-quarter low, but inflationary pressures may make it reluctant to cut interest rates just yet. The 6-member Monetary Policy Committee is largely expected to hold the key policy rate steady at 6.5% for the 11th straight meeting, but a few economists have forecast a 25 basis points cut following the recent growth numbers. GDP expanded 5.4% in the September quarter, the slowest pace in 7 quarters, and sharply below the polled estimate of 6.5%. Sony, Panasonic, and Hitachi are among Japanese consumer electronics brands that have revitalized their Indian operations through strategies such as selling more profitable large-screen TVs, vacating low-margin entry segments, and avoiding price wars led mostly by Chinese brands. Sales have been sluggish at Japanese firms over the past few years as Korean and Chinese brands gained ground. Panasonic's consumer business division, which sells televisions and home appliances such as refrigerators and air conditioners, has broken even in the first half of this fiscal year. The business had reported a net loss of Rs 53 crore in 2023-24. Sony India posted its best ever net profit in the last 8 years in financial year 24, which also saw the maker of Bravia televisions clock more than 20% growth in sales. The company had reported declining sales for 6 consecutive fiscal years, impacting profitability. The Reserve Bank of India unexpectedly cut the cash reserve ratio by 50 basis points to inject Rs 1.16 lakh crore into the banking system. This move aims to improve liquidity and transmission of rate cuts amid high inflation and slowing economic growth. Bringing CRR down by 50 basis points to 4% would release as much as Rs 1.16 lakh crore to the banking system that has anyway been scrambling for deposits. The government has urged banks to adopt best practices, leveraging cutting-edge tools, and foster interbank collaboration to address mule accounts effectively. Banks were also encouraged to explore and implement MuleHunter.ai, an AI/ML-driven model developed by RBI to strengthen the detection and monitoring of mule accounts. Serentica Renewables is investing Rs 50,000 crore to develop 10,000 megawatts of renewable energy capacity in Rajasthan. This investment will support the construction of 3,000 megawatts of capacity currently underway and add to the existing 400 megawatt already operational, furthering Rajasthan's clean energy transition and boosting its economic growth. RBI has revised the framework for small value digital payments in offline mode under UPI Lite. Earlier, the framework prescribed an upper limit of Rs 500 for offline digital payment transactions and a total limit of Rs 2,000 for a payment instrument at any point in time. Now, the offline framework has been updated and the enhanced limits for UPI Lite will be Rs 1,000 per transaction, with Rs 5,000 being the total limit at any point in time. This circular shall come into effect immediately. The GSTN has noted that multiple tickets have been received regarding sequential filing of return in Form GSTR 7. Thus, the GSTN has issued an advisory to inform that GSTR 7 filing has been made sequential from the October tax period. Hence, GSTR 7 return is to be filed in chronological order, beginning with the return period of October 2024. It is pertinent to mention that for a month in which no deduction have been made, deductors need to file nil return for the same month. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.